Today, we're smoking ribs, pork ribs. Okay, I'm getting the char griller smoking champ prepped up and ready to go. I want to do this, the first part of this cook, using strictly wood, no charcoal, no lump coal. So I've got in the box here just a couple pieces of walnut on a pile of paper. I keep a bin of paper that would go in my shredder. Normally I keep another bin just ready to be shred, and I use those to just wad them up, little strips like this, make a nice little bed to get this wood burning. So I'm going to use this wood to create my initial bed of coals. And inside here I'm just going to put a water pan right over here. It's going to actually, it's like a little bread making pan that's going to actually start boiling during the cook, so there's going to be plenty of water vapor in the cooking chamber. And I have this gas grill, and I use this gas grill to sanitize my grates, my cooking grates, because I don't like to scrape and clean these things after cook. I like to leave them greasy. So but I don't want to put meat on unsanitary surface when I'm going to cook, so I put these on my gas grill to clean them. Now, barbecuing, every grill is a little different, and you got to do what works best for you, your environment, your grill. I'm just showing you what works good for me. But after I heat these up, I give them a good scrubbing here with my brush and put them back on the char griller, and they're good to go. And cooking grates are hot and in place and ready to go. So I'm going to light this fire, get this wood burning up nice, and while that's heating up and getting the bed of coals ready for the wood that I'm going to use to smoke the ribs with, I'm going to go prep the ribs. Alright, I got 2 racks of pork spare ribs here, but I want St. Louis style, so I need to trim these up. And St. Louis style is basically, you can kind of see, there's a line here. This is basically St. Louis style. I'm going to square it up. I'm going to get rid of the extra meat, but I'm not going to waste that extra meat because I'm also making a big pot of menudo. So I'm going to use what's left from this on the in my menudo. So first thing I'm going to do is going to trim off basically the tips of these bones. Square that up. This part can be a little tricky. That looks better. Now we've got this little flap here. A lot of these racks have a big flap. This one doesn't have too much of a flap. Just gonna trim that off. That way you have some nice, pretty uniform ribs when these are all cut up. And then we got the membrane to remove, which usually can just get a little piece going. That's this slimy, thin layer on the surface, but we're just going to use a paper towel to get some grip. Find a piece where we can grab it. Some people don't take the membrane off. I like to. Reason is because this stuff is like plastic wrap. You get this stuff off and you get more flavor from the seasonings that you put on this meat, and you get better penetration of that wood smoke flavor. And there it is. Alright, we got 2 nice big racks of ribs, St. Louis style, ready to go. So now fun part, we get to rub them. And first I'm going to start by applying a binder. Now, a binder is optional. What a binder does is it binds your rub to the meat. You don't have to do it. It just kind of depends on your own personal preference. I kind of like to do it. A lot of times meat already has enough moisture on it to where you don't really need a binder. But you can use mustard is really common. You can use olive oil. You can use a little bit of water just to get it wet, whatever. You do you. Okay, this is what I'm doing. And so if you don't like mustard, then fine. I'm going to do one with mustard. That's going to be the ribs for the kids. I'm going to do Daddy said over here with some hot sauce. And I like ribs hot, hot, hot. So I'm going to apply some Tapatio. And I'm going to apply some Dave's Insanity sauce. And this stuff is ridiculous. The last time I tried this, I dubbed them Diablo ribs. They were so stinking hot I could barely eat them, and I can eat some hot stuff. So I'm going to take it a little easier this time. And I'm just going to spread this around. So once I got the binder there, I'm just going to give it a nice liberal coating of my favorite rub. And my favorite rub I get at Smart and Final. It's just the First Street barbecue seasoning. I think this stuff is great. So flip this over. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Tapatio, in my opinion, is not hot at all, but it tastes good. But Dave's Insanity sauce is ridiculously hot. And the nice thing is, it doesn't add a bunch of weird flavor either. It's hot, but doesn't have crazy flavor. Again, it's my own personal preference. I like it spicy. You do you. Honestly, I usually do this part over the sink so I don't make a mess out of my counter. There we go. Now that one. All right, these ribs are now ready to go. Got my nice and spicy hot Diablo ribs here and standard barbecue ribs here. This is the one with mustard, just a light coating of mustard. And these are going to be great. All right, the char grill or smoking champ is ready to go. The smoke is thin and blue. The temperature is where I want it at about 230. I'm going to make sure to keep the temperature between 230 and 250. The pork ribs are going to go onto the grill and they're going to stay there for 3 hours unwrapped, getting smoked. And it's super important to keep the smoke clean. If you don't know what I mean by clean smoke, then I've got another video coming pretty soon. There's lots of stuff out there about clean smoke, but what you're looking for is a nice, light, thin blue smoke that's kind of harder to see. If you see that thick, white, fluffy stuff, that's no good, unless you like your ribs tasting like an ashtray. And if you like burping up that nasty flavor for the next 2-3 days, then that's what you want. You're good. But if you want a good tasting rib that you taste the meat, you taste your seasonings, and you get a nice little subtle smoky wood flavor, that you want thin blue smoke. Very clean, thin blue smoke. All right, ribs are going on. These are monsters. All right, we're about an hour and a half into the first portion, the 3 hours of smoke. Smoke's looking good, and temperature's holding nice at 154 right now, so we're looking good. I'm going to give them the ribs a little spritz of water just to keep them moist. Let's have a look. First look, here we go. Oh yeah, looking good. So Here's another thing. Some people like to use apple juice. I don't like adding the sugar at this portion. Apple cider vinegar. Another thing that's normally used. That beep you're hearing is my temperature sensor saying that the cooking chamber temperature is dropped. That's because the lid's open. There we go. All right, we're looking great. Okay, it's been 3 hours of smoking, and now is the fun part. Temperature has been holding nicely. We're at 245 right now. Let's open up the cooking chamber and have a look at what we have. Oh yeah, we're looking good. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these ribs off the grill and I'm going to wrap them in aluminum foil along with some seasonings and stuff, and we're going to then put them back on the grill for another 2 hours. Okay, you're going to need a nice long piece of aluminum foil. It's got to be more than twice as long as the ribs that you're cooking, because you're going to put the ribs down here and then you're going to fold this over. You're going to kind of wrap it up, kind of like roll it over like you do a lunch bag or something like that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put down a couple of pieces of butter, and let's do the spicy ones first. So we're going to put down some more of the barbecue seasonings along with that butter. Right on the aluminum foil, we're going to put down some, I like using Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue, sweet and spicy barbecue sauce. We're going to throw some of this down too. Just like that. Let's go a little more. Okay. And then we're going to throw down some more of the Dave's Insanity sauce, but I'm going to be careful with this stuff. The last time I did this, I used too much, and it was very difficult to eat, so I'm just going to kind of sprinkle that around a little bit. There we go. I'm going to do a little fresh ground black pepper. Okay, now I'm going to go get the ribs off the grill, and I'm going to put a meat side down right on top of that. Meat side down, boom, right there. Here we go. Oh yeah, look at that. All right, now I'm going to add a couple more chunks of butter. There we go. And I'm going to add a little more of the barbecue seasoning. I'm going to add some more of the Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. And some more of the Dave's Insanity sauce. Whoa, easy. There we go. A little more fresh ground black pepper. There we go. I'm going to bring this together. Now the other ribs, we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to replace the Insanity sauce with honey. Normally I use brown sugar. I didn't know until a few minutes ago that we're out of brown sugar. So instead we're going to use honey to give it some nice sweetness. So we're going to bring this together like this. And be careful. Be careful not to rip the aluminum foil. There we go. Making a pouch. there we go. We'll make it a pouch so that we're going to put this back on the heat. And all the juices, that butter, the sauce, the spices, all that stuff's going to stay inside this pouch. And it's going to just work into the meat, and it's going to really, really soften up this meat. So it's just, by the time we take this off 2 hours later, usually you get one or two, you know, like a bone falling out of the meat on the ends. And so you got to be super careful when you unwrap it after it's been on there for 2 hours. Now, nice sealed bag here. Another thing I'm going to be careful, the reason why you don't want a hole is because all this stuff that's in here, when it's done after 2 hours, it's going to be the bag is going to be, it's going to be swimming in it. There's going to be a lot of juice, barbecue sauce, oils, you know, juices from the meats, the spices, all that stuff's going to be inside this bag. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep that because that's going to end up being the barbecue sauce, any drizzle that I want to put on the ribs after I've taken them off, after I've let them rest, and after I've cut them up. If we want to put a little of that sauce back onto the ribs, oh, it's good. This is going back on the grill. Okay, here's the rack of the regular, and you see I already got the bottom layer on, and got the butter down. I'm going to go ahead and add the barbecue sauce. Oh gosh, these smell so good. Add the barbecue sauce to the back. Gonna add the honey. Thought you might want to see this. Liberal amount of honey. A little more ground pepper. A little more barbecue seasoning. Beautiful. Wrap this bad boy up. Okay. Beautiful. I'm going to get this back on the grill, and I'm going to make sure that the seam is up, okay? So all the juices are going to be trapped in here, and the meaty side is just going to be sitting in a pool of all that delicious flavor. Okay, pork spare ribs. Using the 3-2-1 cooking method, that's 3 hours at about 240 degree average temperature, unwrapped, smoked in the cooking chamber here, followed by another 2 hours of wrapped, along with whatever floats your boat to put inside there, nothing at all, or barbecue sauce and stuff like you saw me do. And then after that 2 hours, you take them out, you unwrap them, and you put them back on the grill. And this is just to kind of tighten the meat up a little bit. So it's been 2 hours of wrapped. Here's what we've got. Threw a couple pieces of salmon on the grill too. I'm going to take these out and unwrap them. All right, one of these has sprung a leak. No biggie. This is the spicy one. Let's have a look. Oh, God, that smells good. Gonna try to not rip this foil up too much. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. I'm gonna save the drippings. See what I was talking about? We got loose bone here. This bone, there it is. That bone's falling out too. That happens is that the meat is now super, super tender. So I'm going to be very careful. And I'm going to take this out using a large spatula and my tongs, and try not to do too much damage here. Get back onto the grill. And I'm going to put it bone side down, so I got to flip this over on the grill. Okay, meat's back on the grill, and I'm going to close this up, and I'm going to let it cook for, usually I don't even do an hour. Usually it's more like half an hour, depending. I'm just going to let this kind of dry up and tighten up a little bit so the meat doesn't fall off the bone too easily, and they can still be eaten like normal ribs. All right, the ribs have been cooking unwrapped for about 45 minutes now, and this time I did something that I don't normally do after tasting the drippings that I collected from these ribs, and it was just so damn good that I decided to go ahead and give each of the ribs a coating of their sauce. And here we are. Oh yeah, looking beautiful. I'm gonna pull these off. I'm gonna let them rest for 15 minutes or so. Meantime, this salmon's it's about ready to. I'm gonna let it stay here and stay warm, cook up a little more, and we're gonna cut these up. Okay, let's cut these up, see how they look. Oh, look at that. That just comes apart. It's beautiful. I could practically pull these apart, but I want nice little ribs. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Very nice. Quick taste test. I'm happy. All right, I'm going to pull this salmon off the grill, get inside, and eat some amazing ribs. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and subscribe. I got more stuff coming. And thank you so much again. Take care.